Good afternoon and welcome to our Technical Assistance Training Program. You are certified. Now what? I'm Sandy McDonald. I'm the Director of the Office of Economic and Small Business Development. And what we're going to try to do today is give you either hot tips or give you nuggets, golden nuggets, or substantively give you the information that should help you post-certification really advance your opportunities to win contracts with Broward directly or to be a sub under the primes for major contracts here in Broward County. So for today, we're going to ask you as an audience not to populate chats. We won't be doing chats. However, Q&A. Put your questions in the Q&A. We will get to Q&A during this process. And I'm also going to be checking back and forth with you as we go through this process to see if there's some things of immediate relevance that I might need to stop and talk about. But we definitely have a Q&A at the end of this workshop. Next slide. This is our office. This is our goals. We're here because the County Commission believes in a vibrant community, believes in working with entrepreneurs and small businesses and startups, believe that we need to have a sustainable community. So the business community, the economic engines of the county, the utilization and the viability of small businesses is extremely important to Broward County. So these are the goals that are assigned to us by the commission. Next slide. Business Opportunity Act. This is something if you are a certified small business, and remember, today's workshop is certified now what? You want to know about Business Opportunity Act 2012, most recently amended back in May 2018. This act tells you about the program. It gives the definition of CBE and SBE. It tells you what prime contractors looking to do business with the county, how they must engage the program and our small businesses. This act, as most recently amended, challenges me in this office to assure that at least 25% of what we buy, we want to buy from certified small businesses. So today's session is to advance this act by making sure my certified small businesses know some of the things you need to do to win some of these contracts. Next slide. The reason that's important, the reason why we have the act, the reason why we do the at least 25%, we are a small business community. Over some 80,000 small businesses in Broward. But 89% of the businesses in Broward have 20 employees or less. That's a factual number. Yeah, we got some big corporations, some medium-sized corporations, but folks, if you're on this call today, the majority of the businesses in Broward County are 20 employees or less. Though the SBA classifies small businesses 1 to 500 employees as small, we recognize 89% plus of Broward businesses have 20 employees or less. And that's why we have this program, because we believe those businesses can benefit. We believe Broward County can benefit from those businesses, and those businesses benefit from the opportunities that the county procures goods, materials, and services. And if we just got to buy anyway, why not buy some of it from businesses already invested in Broward? So that's key. Next slide. And how I want to focus on certified now what is to make sure that you clearly understand the 3 P's: program, process, and people. This should help you as a small business understand. Certified now what? Some of the things I need to know and be familiar with relevant to the program. What should I be doing? What does the program speak to me doing? What does the program make available for me that I might need to do a little bit more research? Process. How do I navigate these upcoming opportunities? Process. How do I find out about opportunities even before the bid? Process. How do I engage agencies, organizations, and people that I need to engage prior to bids? And the last is people. Program process people. How do I truly get a better understanding for the Office of Economic and Small Business Development? How do I get a better understanding and know the people in purchasing? How do I get a better understanding of county prime contractors and get to meet some of them? How do I get a better understanding of how to engage people that can advance my opportunity to be far more competitive in the procurement process? Next slide. So we'll start this with the program. We encourage you to know the ordinance. Nope, you don't need to recite it, but you need to have access to it. You need to be able to put your finger on it when you need to. Folks, you really do need to know the acronyms of the program relevant to the act. CBE. There's something about CBE, County Business Enterprise, that I need to be aware of. SBE, Small Business Enterprise. I need to recognize, and the act will show you this. I need to recognize that when the Office of Economic and Small Business Development gives me that phone call or sends me that email, and they're talking about a sheltered market opportunity. If I'm an SBE, because I understand the act and the program, I need to know that, wait a minute, if I got this email, if I got this phone call, it's because they're considering a project, and that project is $250,000 or less, and this project requires an SBE, and if they have at least 2 SBEs in the directory that can meet the service, good, or material of this project, they have a chance to shelter market it, which means if the county shelter markets this project for $250,000 or less, the only ones who are going to have true consideration for the bid will be SBEs. So here's a sheltered market opportunity where I might not have to bid against the big boys. It's being sheltered, it's being carved out exclusively for SBEs. Understanding the program, reading or having access to the Business Opportunity Act, most recently amended in May 2018, helps you understand the program, helps you understand when my staff contacts you what that really means, helps you understand when prime contractors on the CBE goal aspect is asking for your interest in a project they might be looking to prime, how you need to complete that letter of interest with them, how you need to have a real conversation with them about the services or the scopes they're looking for, how you can provide it, and what you're going to charge them. You need to understand that act because it also spells out when there's a CBE Reserve opportunity. That means not the SBE, but there's a $3, $4, $5 million project that there's enough CBEs in the directory that the small business office is now going to reserve it, which means it goes out for bid. Non-CBEs can bid, but if there's enough responsive and responsible CBEs bidding, So is that what we call technical difficulties? So I'll ask the staff to tell me, are we all back?
It looks like we're back.
All right, so we'll get back to the slide on program. As I was concluding program. Are your slides back up and my screen's just not showing them? Okay, folks, I think we're back. I can't tell you nothing about that technical glitch. That one got me. But as I was saying, the substantive part of the first P, which is program, you being able to truly understand what's written in the act. When my office reach out to you about an SBE or CBE opportunity, even the CBE Reserve, when the work must be completed by CBEs, and even though non-CBEs can respond to the solicitation, again, similar to the SBE, if I have enough responsive and responsible CBEs, we carve this out for CBEs to win the project. Folks, most recently, and we're going to find out coming out of the summer, we did this with a janitorial contract. We took traditionally a janitorial contract that might be won by one of the larger firms, and it would have a 25 or 30% goal, which means they use 3 or 4 of my smaller firms. We did it completely different this time. We totally unbundled it. 14 projects for the janitorial opportunities and the janitorial cleanup of county complex, county buildings. We had 8 CBE reserves, 6 SBE reserves. And coming out of the summer, we're going to see how that pans out. But that's because we believe we had enough CBEs and SBEs in the directory to get the job done. So the Business Opportunity Act 2012, as recently amended May 2018, is the devil in the details of the program. The more you know or familiarize yourself with the program, the better you begin to put yourself in position to win contracts, or bare minimum, be extremely competitive in contracts. And coming out of program, coming out of the act, next slide, you have to understand the process. Second P is about process. Many of you have already done private industry forever, ever, amen. You're just now getting into government activity and government work. That's what the process is all about. Some of it's similar than private industry, and some is completely different. Our job, our collaboration with county agencies, inclusive of purchasing, is to make sure you understand the process. Understand who we use as a county with the bid portal. Understand as a county how we take different bids, RFP, RLIs. Understand as a county what we say in the bid process to the prime contractor who's going to have a goal, how they have to utilize small businesses as a part of their response to the solicitation. So they have to do LOIs with my CBEs. Understand the process, and I say this often, and we'll talk about it later, of how you should know something about bids before they ever hit the street. I often tell my small businesses, if the first time you find out about a bid is when the bid hits the street, you're late. Now, I want to be clear. Yes, the official bid that comes from purchasing, the official bid that now comes from Periscope, which is our procurement platform. That's the official announcement of a bid. But there's things that we do throughout the process that prepares you for that bid. There's information we share about the process or through the process that can help educate you on what that bid may be asking for. And I'm sure you already know. Folks, there's definitely, for the most part, especially on repeated contracts, past bids, where you can get information before the bid that is currently in place, that's going to expire, before the new solicitation. Why not look at the old bid just to get familiar? Understanding the process. Nugget. We're going to do that from time to time today. Nugget. Gold nugget. Understanding the process means having access to information prior to a bid that can possibly benefit you as you prepare, or even as you make the consideration to respond to a bid or to try to identify the prime contractors to be used as a subcontractor. Navigating the process, understanding the process, that's what my workshops are about. That's what some of our technical assistance is about. That's what some of the meet and greets are about. Making sure you're familiar with the process. And yes, the tools. I gotta say that, the tools. The first time you go into Periscope to submit a bid should not be for the bid you're looking for. You have to go in that system. You have to practice in that system. You have to get an understanding of that system. And you never want to try to do a bid 2 hours before it's due. Because as we just saw, unfortunately, 5 minutes ago, technology happens and you can get kicked out. And at the end of the day, a bid timeline is a bid timeline. So process is the second thing, the second P. We want you to understand that you need to know and also have access to our shop and others to get a better understanding if you want to be competitive in bidding. And the third P, next slide, folks, that's people. That's my office. That's my small business staff. That's my small business specialists and the supervisors. That's the folks post certification. Congratulations again. Certified now what? Who you need to know. It's my outreach team, the ones who are responsible for this workshop. It's the outreach team who are also responsible for the different development and technical assistance workshops and trainings that we do. It's my outreach team along with my small business specialists that if you're having trouble with expanding your NAICS codes, your North American Industry Codes, or navigating Periscope, the bid portal, they're the ones who can help you. The other P and the other P regarding people is us putting you in front of the prime contractors. July 22nd is coming up. I think that's the next outreach session about the convention center expansion and the new hotel. So the primary contractor and some of the prime subs are going to be having a workshop where you get to meet the people making a decision. We try to do as many meet and greets as possible. The P, the third P is for people. Now, I need to say this because folks often ask this question. No, all county agencies do not have to meet with you one-on-one. No, all county agencies do not have to take phone call after phone call or consult after consult with you as a business one-on-one. My office does. My office will. Some agencies will. But understand, we've already said it earlier, it's over 80,000 businesses. And in fairness to the procurement practice and process, and this is what's different than private industry. Some of our agencies don't want to have conversations, dialogue, and consult with some firms that could advantage them and not have that same thing with all the other firms. And that agency doesn't have enough staff to entertain 28, 50, or 100 firms. So because of that, they make their information available via the bids, of course, through procurement. They make their information available pre-bid through my office. They make themselves available in future projects through workshops we hold, as well as through their websites. There's enough ways to get information about county agencies and future activities without thinking someone has to meet you directly. And I have to say at 50-50, I have agencies that will entertain your call, and before COVID, even your face-to-face visit. But I also have agencies who also speak a little clearer in terms of how they don't want to disadvantage others or advantage anyone, so they just have a rule not to meet. Now, I have a way that we get around that to a degree every October, and one will be happening this October as we start the new fiscal year. I hold a contracting opportunities meeting, and I bring all the major agencies in, and all are committed to presenting and leaving the PowerPoint of the projects they're working on, the ones they're looking to work on for the next year up until the following year. So at my October event, from Construction Management Division to Public Works, Water, Wastewater, to Aviation, to Planning, to Transportation, to Airport, to Parks, to Purchasing, all of the primary procuring agencies participate in my contracting opportunities meeting. So they not only present, and we'll be doing this meeting again this year, face to face. We did it last year virtual. They not only present, but they have their PowerPoints of the projects they're working on and the ones they're planning for the next year, year and a half. So you begin right then to see what's being proposed. That's another way for us to make sure you can meet some of the people. And I will say this though, those who attend that meeting, for the most part, 8 out of 10, commit to meeting and having conversations and consults with firms. So I know in private industry, you believe I need to create my capability statement and I need to find this person and I need to sit down, have lunch and have this conversation and tell them all about me. That is private industry. It just happens not to be government. Some agencies will take that meeting. Some won't take an hour meeting. It might be 15 minutes to 30 minutes because you have to remember, even in having that one-on-one and introducing yourself, even if you get a chance to speak to the director of that department, that really doesn't have weight. I'm going back to process now with the process of the bid. That's going to be a submittal. That's going to be a solicitation. That's going to be the specifics with the devil in the detail. And 10 times out of 10, not 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10, that director you wanted to meet, they're not a part of the evaluation team who's going to be deciding who's doing the work. So I'm not going to get in that conversation about old boy network. And if I know this person, he's going to take care of that. What I am saying as a program and a process, know the program and the requirements, know the process and allow us to help you navigate the process. Understand the people you have access to, use all of them to advance your opportunity to be far more competitive. That's why we're here. Next slide. So after the 3 Ps, this is my staff kicking in. Poll question number 1. What are your expectations now that you're certified? Now, if you're not certified, this workshop is for you too, because we want you to get certified. But if you're certified, and that's what we was going for today, what are your expectations? Want you to take the time. I'm going to wait about 30 to 45 seconds because this don't take forever. And you should see the survey on your screen right now. We want you to participate and tell us, what are your expectations now that you're certified? Check off, I want to have work as hard as the market of my business. I will need to work even harder to do business with Broward County. Primes will use the CBE directory to reach out to me. Business opportunities will increase. What's your expectation? I'm gonna wait about 15 or 20 more seconds for you to tell me what's your expectation now that you are certified. And I'm gonna tell you the funny thing about that. I think staff is setting you up. Like that first one, I won't have to work as hard to market my business. If you're in business, you always want to work hard, but you also understand there's a thing called work smarter, not harder, but you will always be working. Okay, hopefully you participated in my poll number 1, and we're gonna go ahead and move to the next slide. And here we go. Thank you for that 0%, that 0%. Thank you for that 0% on that first one. That should not be a real expectation. So I'm glad that's 0. Okay, second one, I will need to work even harder to do business with Broward County. All right, that's about 14% of those who are on this call today. Primes will use the CBE directory to reach out to me. That's 20% of you believing that as the expectation. And business opportunities will increase, 66%. Folks, that last one in orange should have been 80 plus. Business opportunities will increase. Certified now, what should be your expectation? Business opportunities should increase. Yep, You should have an expectation that primes will use the directory, because hear me, they will use the directory. And yes, you will need to work even harder to do business with Broward County. That's true to the fact that there's going to be more information for you to have, for you to apply to win some contracts. So those are the results. I love the bottom one in orange. I love the fact that no one thought about number one as a real expectation, but what's behind this survey result, that should be one of your expectations. And I need to be crystal clear. It should be about making money. Folks, you're a business. Your expectation should be to make money. You only want to dabble in with the county as an opportunity while you do the private stuff, the family stuff, the friend stuff, because you believe there's a chance to make some money. I'm hoping there's a chance for you to make some money. Our job is to help small businesses make money. So that's a real expectation. Next slide. But there's a reality to making money. There's a reality that you know better than I as a small business. I often tell my entrepreneurs coming out of the workshops, for entrepreneurs, there's one real understanding. Don't work, don't eat. You got to put in the time. Don't work, don't eat. So the reality of making a lot of money is that there's still work to be done. And the more information I have, the smarter I can work instead of the harder. And that's why we're here. That's what this workshop is about. And I'm finna get into some real nuggets of really trying to help you understand some of the things that's going to help you now that you're certified. But it does require you to do some work. I just got to be honest about it. You can't get certified and just sit at home knowing your name is in the directory, knowing the county has all these projects, and just wait for the prime to call you. You can't. Not if you're serious about winning contracts and being a partner as a sub on projects. Next slide. CBE and SBE programs, doing business with Broward County. Let's make sure you're real clear about CBE and SBE. But here's the first real question. What certifications do you have? Do you actually know if you're CBE, SBE, DBE, ACDBE, or not sure? And this is not a trick question, because today's session is certified now what? So if you certified, you should definitely know what you're certified as. And that's what we want to make sure before I start explaining the other devil in the details, specifically today about CBE and SBE. I at least want to know my audience. It looks like I got about 60 or 62 participants. I need to know if you know which of these acronyms or which of these multiple acronyms do you have. So
and it looks like we may be having another technical issue. So just hang with us 1 second, please. In the meantime, if you have not already completed the poll, please go ahead and answer that. Again, are you certified with Broward County? We're going to check all that apply. Are you a CBE, SBE, DBE, ACDBE, or if you're not sure, you can also indicate that. And we have about 37 individuals that have already responded. We're still going to wait for about 10 more. Hopefully we can get that. And if you don't know what these acronyms mean as well, you can also hit not sure, because we definitely need you to know what these acronyms mean. And welcome back, Sandy.
So is that just me leaving or everybody be going off?
I think we're rotating it a little bit.
Okay, so
this time was just yourself.
wow. Hey guys, sorry about that. We'll have to figure this out, but sorry about that. So I heard Savika talking, and thank you, Savika. So it says multiple choice. I hope they had the chance to click if they were more than one, Savika, did they?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
cool.
they do.
Cool,
So you
cool,
can click
beans,
more
cool,
than
beans.
one. And
All
I
right.
think we have about almost 40 people that have responded. So I think we can go ahead.
Real good. So let's see what they said. Let's see what they said. I got about 43% or so of mine who are CBEs, 40% or so who are SBEs. I'm glad to see some of my DBEs. Hey, I got a few of my ACDBEs and some not sure. Okay, no harm, no foul. Thanks for those results. But that's the key. The key is knowing, first and foremost, based on another workshop we do about getting certified, we get to explain the CBE, SBE, DBE, ACDBE. We get to tell you about the eligibility. We get to tell you about the advantages of being CBE, SBE, DBE, ACDBE. And because of that, folks then determine that they want to get certified. Go to the next slide as we end this poll. But the thing about today, certified now what, is making sure you understand, as we talked about with the program, how they actually work that advantages you. SBE Reserve, Small Business Enterprise Program, we have a sheltered program, $250,000 or less. We get a chance to look at our SBEs. And at the end of the day, if I got at least 2 SBEs, I can shelter an opportunity where just the small businesses compete against themselves. Our program never interrupts or never trumps or outshadows or is eligible when I'm doing the state and the federal money. This is strictly about Broward County spending dollars, and for the smallest of our small business programs, carving out opportunities for my SBEs. That's my small business enterprise. That's my sheltered market program. That's my SBE Reserve program. Next slide. CBE and CBE Reserve. My CBE Reserve specifically, as I alluded to earlier, I might have a $4 or $5 or $6 million contract. I normally could put that contract out with a goal. Let's say 25, 30, 40% of 5 million must be small business. Or the ordinance allows me, when I have enough CBEs that can provide the service, that means all the work must be done by CBEs. One CBE can win and say, I can do 70%, and he can give the other 30% away to 1 or 2 other CBEs. It's just that the work must be completed by CBEs. When we do reserves, you need to understand that's the chance for my small business to show themselves similar as a prime and control the project. The key to the current reserve program, 100% of all the work must be done by CBEs. So even if I'm going to respond to this bid and I can't do it all, any of the remaining work must be done by other CBEs. Next slide. The other part of the CBE Reserve, in case none of the CBEs who respond to a bid is responsible, or sometimes, unfortunately, I set a CBE Reserve and no CBEs respond at all. I can't stand it when that happens, but it does happen. The county procurement is allowed in that instance, or if I can't find a responsible CBE, to then award it to a non-CBE. However, my program kicks back in. At least 25% of that award still must go to small businesses. So again, the county's intent is to find as many opportunities as possible to work with small businesses, primarily through goals, then through these reserves. But even when we can't figure it out on the reserve side, we will always go back and say, fine, none of my CBEs can do the job, or none of my CBEs responded. So yes, procurement, you can look at non-CBEs who may have responded, but if you award it to a non-CBE, still at least 25% of that job got to go to CBEs. So then that would give them time to go and still look at some of our folks. So that's the reserve program. Next slide. Goal and procurement. And procurement, relevant to the goal portion of our CBE program, is the majority of what my small business is about. Best example to this day is the convention center expansion with the new hotel. That's $1 billion project that has about 700 to 800 million vertical construction activities. They have a goal of 30%. So even though right now, about 45% of the money they've spent, the money they've made, the work they've done, at least 40% has been paid to CBEs. So they're achieving over my 30% goal. Now, it won't always be that way, but they understand that the objective and the requirement is that when that convention center expansion and the new hotel project is done, 30% of that project or more must have been completed with our small businesses. The program again, the ordinance again, the act again says we look at all projects. And at least a 25% goal must be set. So I was just using that project to demonstrate. We didn't set a 25, we set a 30. So that's understanding the program. And at times, for the reserve or for the goal, if we need, we can apply a rule that allows us 30 days to go try to find small businesses that may not be certified, or find small businesses when we went through the original process who didn't respond to our inquiry, to try to tap them on the shoulders and say, you do know I reached out to you. Here's an opportunity. The ordinance has given us now 30 extra days to go look to see if we can find CBEs whenever necessary. Next slide. The other parts about the goal and the procurement preference that you need to understand is that Broward certified CBEs and SBEs have the opportunity to match the bid when they're within 10% of a non-certified fund. The county is still trying to assure ways to get the business to our small businesses. We even have a ceiling these days. When a project is out here competitively for $3 million or less, if the small business is within 10%, they can win the bid. If they're within 10% of the lowest bid of the non-CBE, they can still win as a CBE. If the project is over 3 million, the county allows us a 5%. Where within 5%, if my CBE is within the bid of the lowest non-CBE, they can still win the bid. Just understand, the county is trying to find ways, not to get lesser product or lesser quality. No, just trying to find ways to get small businesses participating in county procurement in a significant manner. We believe in the small businesses in Broward, and the numbers bear out. The majority of my businesses are small, so we want to be genuine about creating these opportunities. Next slide. So as a small business, gold nugget, here we go. Gold nugget. Certified now what? Know your certification type at all times. Check and update your nation, North American Industry Code, as well as your procurement codes. Make sure that they align themselves with the codes that the county use. Renew your certification on time, folks. So I want to be clear about that. When your certification expires, we don't kick you out the next day. I don't even kick you out the following month. I don't even kick you out 60 days later, because we understand you're small. We understand that you're doing a lot of work. We understand that you're looking for a lot of work. So I don't want paperwork to cost you your opportunities. But you're beginning to run afoul of the program when you're 90 days late on your renewal. You will eventually get a letter that we're decertifying you. You don't want to get that letter. So though you heard me say, when your certification expires, I don't kick you out the next day or within the first 30. I don't kick you out within the first 30 or the first 60. I need you to take that respectfully and try to get certified or recertified within the first 30. Don't wait to 59 or 60. Don't wait till you get a letter from me removing your decertification, because you know you have to renew annually. The other thing that I have to say in terms of certified now what? On these renewals, make sure we have your correct email and phone number. It's okay. You move, things happen, you change numbers. COVID had a lot of businesses shifting, and from certain office spaces, downsizing, or some people call it right sizing. We get it. Folks, we need that information, because if we can't reach you, that's another reason to remove you from our directory. We would not want you to miss an opportunity because you forgot to give me a new email or a phone number. Next slide. Types of solicitation, folks. Another nugget. Certified, now what? please understand that the county looks after quotes and direct bids. The county looks and goes after RFPs, requests for proposals. The county goes after RLIs, the request for letter of interest. And going back to that first one, direct quotes, you may get a call or email from our CABs, county agency buyers. And that's when they're looking to procure those things like 50,000 and under. And if that's you, you need to be responding to that email or that phone call, because those direct quotes, those things are probably out there for a day, 2 days max, because that's something we're looking to do in an expedited fashion. So we want to make sure process, again, program process people, we want to make sure process, you thoroughly understand the different manners in which the county procures goods, materials, services, and products, and that we can help you to make sure that you can complete those applications, those quotes, or those requirements. Next slide. Vendor registration. Now we got to be clear, and I'm gonna have to talk to staff because this is a slide I probably need to remove, except for the fact that I know we got some people on the call that may not be certified. This is something you should do. This is something you're required to do before you ever get certified with me, with our program. Vendor registration. If you even are interested in doing business with Broward County, go register to be a vendor immediately. Don't worry about certification. Don't worry about me in my office. Go do your vendor registration immediately. That way, if the county is buying your good, material, or service, you won't miss the bid. We tell folks in the other Get Certified workshop, do your vendor registration, then come talk to me and my staff about understanding our program to see if what you provide, the county procures on a regular, and then that advantages you by getting certified, but you're already registered as a vendor. So if you're on the call today and you're not certified, even as you talk to us over the days and over the weeks to come about potentially getting certified, if you're interested in Broward County procurement, it's two different things. Go register to be a vendor and you get to register for free. We used to call the system BidSync. It's now called Periscope S2G. It's still free. The county has paid for anyone who wants to know what the county is buying. For anyone who wants to receive the bids from the county, register for free. And as you heard me say earlier, our outreach division, along with our small business specialist staff, any questions or concerns you have, they can help you navigate that process. But please go register to be a county vendor if you're interested in doing business with Broward County. Next slide. A good slide that one of the staff put here. Folks, another nugget. Eventually, you will want to bid. Eventually, to be a part of this process, you gotta bid. Eventually, even if you're gonna be an LOI or a subcontractor to a prime, you wanna be familiar with the bid in the process. Make Periscope S2G a habit. Folks, you gotta check those emails. You gotta understand when the solicitation comes, how to download and how to review. You gotta understand at the end of the review, there's a period for question and answers. You gotta understand that during the procurement code in the process, anytime there's a question, it's asked via the system, it's answered via the system, and even if you're not the one who asked it, you also get to see the question and the answer. Make Periscope S2G a habit. Certified now what? Make it a habit to know and familiarize yourself with the system where the county does its procurement. And do that before you're actually at your official bid. I would not want you to be a part of an official bid and you've never navigated the system and now you're having troubles and you missed the bid. That's just another one of the tips. Next slide. Network. Attend the meet and greets we have. If you're available, you want to attend on July 22nd. If not because you're not interested in the convention center expansion or the new hotel, you want to meet the primes and the other subprimes. They're going to be on future county contracts. They're going to be bidding on future county contracts. You want to know what their qualifications are for someone like you. Check out our Wednesday newsletter. Folks, you heard me say earlier that if the first time you see a bid is when the solicitation goes out your link, you will find out information about future bids in my Wednesday newsletter. We have a section specifically called Hot Tips. That newsletter comes out every Wednesday about 6:15. And again, if you don't want to read the entire newsletter, everything might not be of interest to you. And trust me, I know you're also busy. Then go look for the Hot Tips. Hot Tips is telling you about projects that I've reviewed, goals that we've recommended, goals that have been set, information that's passed down to us by user agencies. And yes, we'll even tell you when the bid's coming out once we know. And we'll even tell you, oh yeah, by the way, the bid came out yesterday or last week. We're just trying to keep you informed. We're trying to give you information in advance. We're trying to help your strategy of completing your plan to navigate and be a part of the process. We understand that even as a small business, you don't have 20 or 30 staff. You might not have 2 or 3 people to do the administrative side, to check the bids, to check your emails. But at some point, someone has to look at the administrative side to create the opportunities for you. And because of that, we try to condense that information by putting hot tips into the newsletter, sending out individual email blasts, and certainly reminding you when bids that we had previously talked to you about, when they officially hit the street, we never want you to miss it. Just another tip, network with us and with primes and with your own colleagues. Next slide. Engage. This is how you can engage us. The weekly ball, you can subscribe to that through the econdevinfo@broward.org. If you want to know about this bid, you were put on the team, you're trying to see when the county commission is finally going to approve it, folks, you can subscribe to get the notification of the county commission agendas. You can read in advance, is the project that you're on going to be talked about today? Is it going to be approved today? If you didn't know it, subscribing to that link, broward.org/stay connected, and you're getting the commission meetings agenda, you get the agenda at the same time my commissioners get it. So instead of calling this office the day on a Monday before a Tuesday meeting, or trying to figure out, hey, have they approved that contract yet? Folks, you have access to the agendas of every single meeting. That's just another link that we have for you. So we want to make sure that you stay engaged through multiple ways. And again, we also recognize there needs to be multiple ways because you're busy. And we also know everybody don't look at the same thing. Next slide. So tip number 4 in terms of staying engaged. This is about the steps you need to take. And it's really just a chart of what I just got to describing. Did I or can I make time to check my emails? Am I responding to the surveys when the small business office is submitting them? And remember, those surveys is because we're trying to consider if we have enough businesses to shelter market or set a goal. See, that's just a part of the strategy. If you get that survey call or email, you need to remember, they're looking to see if they can set a goal or reserve a project. I can help this process along by responding. I can help myself in this process by responding and beginning to collect more information on this survey or this inquiry. Folks, you have to stay engaged. And I get to say it, I get it. You might not have a dedicated person to do this. You might not have additional staff, but you have to create a strategy and a plan that works for you, which is why even with or without COVID, so much of this information is on our website. Staff have decided to start putting some of it into text messages. Folks, in case you didn't know, we're also using Instagram. We want to put this out here in different platforms in addition to the newsletter that comes out every week to find a convenient, accessible way for you to get the information. Folks, it's really about connecting the dots to be competitive in this process. And I'm going to talk about that shortly as we get ready to go into some projects and before I get into your questions. Next slide. Here's some of the other partners and organizations and or products you can use that will help to engage you, to create a capability statement, to make sure that you have a quality business plan in case you don't have one, to understand more about FDOT and their constructions and bonding, the idea of getting our commissions information, the idea that if you're really trying to put together a program for you and your business that's going to advantage you on the international side of the market, or that's going to advantage you in terms of the big box stores. You want to meet some of our other partners like FSMDC, the Florida State Minority Suppliers Diversity Council, and SBDC and FAU with the technical assistance. This chart, along with this entire PowerPoint within 48 hours, so by Tuesday next week, will be on our website so you can come back and get some of these nuggets. These are other resources and contacts that could be of assistance to you. They're just additional resources we want to make sure that you are aware about. Next slide. Question. Okay, I'm ready. Now what? So you say you're ready, and now what? Next slide. Here's the now what. And I told you I'm going to use an example. Broward County, top left corner, we normally procure about $1 billion of goods, materials, and services. Do your own math. We try to make sure at least 25% of $1 billion every year is spent with small business. Bottom left, $3.2 billion activities on the horizons at the airport. Paying attention to the commission meeting before the summer break, you know we've approved the Terminal 5. That's right, you've been to our airport, it has 4 terminals, we're getting ready to build a new one. That's gonna have goals, folks, small business programs. Top right, we've already talked about it. Next meeting is on July 22nd. There's a workshop, but that's over $1 billion project with 700 to 800 million vertical construction and activity for 30% CBE goal. So we still got CBEs that will be hired and new ones being hired to complete that project. At the bottom, to take the bigger ships from the Panama Canal, we got about $1 billion project, which is underway for the deepening and the widening of our port. Folks, we say all of that, certified now what? You got some of the nuggets and the tips. It's all for the fact that we have projects hitting the street, including the next slide, including the fact that for the next 28 years, it started as 30 years, 2 years ago, but we got 28 more years of mobility advancement program that you used to hear me call surtax. Folks, this is what you need to understand. Palm Beach and Miami used to be 7-cent sales tax, and Broward in the middle was 6. Broward just went to 7. We increased by a penny. That penny is going to generate about $355 million a year, every year for 30 years. So that's about $17 billion that we're getting ready to generate. But for that penny, Broward has committed that penny to transportation operation, transportation services, infrastructure in the county, including the 31 cities, and the future of rail. That's correct. The first rail project around 2024, 2025, you'll fly into the airport and you'll take a quick rail to the convention center or to the port to catch a cruise. And then we're going to talk about rail down the road from east at the beach all the way out to the Sawgrass. Please remember, this is a 30-year tax incentive project by which there's 28 more years to go. And for eligible projects, the county set a 30% goal. So if I take at least half of that $355 million a year, because everything's not going to be eligible, but at least half should be eligible, and I apply the 30% goal, folks, that means I got about $53 million in projects that ought to be awarded to CBEs every year for the next 28 years. And right now in 2021, I'm sitting here in July, based on projects reviewed, I got about, out of that 53 million, we got about 29 to 30 million already assigned for CBE participation. In the newsletter 2 weeks ago, we just told you about a CBE who just won a $3 million contract. They didn't win it as the goal, they won it as the prime contractor. This is real. So the reason why we're showing this certified now what? You just told me about all those nuggets. You told me about program process people. You told me about staying engaged. You told me about getting information before the bid ever comes out. You told me about networking. You told me about the research I must do as a small business to connect the dots. And I'm going to use surtax as one of the examples. Folks, we were talking about surtax in 2018 before they voted. They approved it in 2019, we started doing workshops to explain what the progress and the projects will be. So in July, August, and September of 2019, we held workshops telling small business about future projects in the county and through the cities. Folks, in February of 2020, before we really fell into COVID, we did workshops specifically telling you about projects that's getting ready to be recommended for approval from the cities for surtax. Folks, we went to May and June 2020 in the midst of COVID, but through virtual meetings, the Oversight Board for Surtax and the Broward County Commission approved those projects and assigned dollars. Folks, we started the end of last year, 2020, and the beginning of this year, 2021, telling you about the projects that were approved. And folks, earlier this year, we had cities coming in, telling you specifically about the projects that were approved that they're now getting ready to put on the street for the bid. The point I'm trying to make, similar to the hot tip section of the newsletter, you got to connect the dots. Folks, I got real live CBEs who have paid attention to an announcement back in 2019, a workshop of potential projects at the end of 19, a workshop that gave the list of approved projects in 2020, workshop that gave the list of approved projects with the money assigned by the commission in 2020, and then projects as introduced by this office, county agencies, and cities combined in 2020 and early 2021. So projects that just went on the street for bid back in April, May, and June are now being awarded to CBEs who was connecting that dot since 2019. I'm saying that because there's a series of new projects that were approved. There's a series of projects that's on our website from cities who just presented within the last 2 months. The list of approved projects are also still on our website, as well as the Penny for Transportation website. And if I know about the project, and if I know it came from the county or the city, I can go read the scopes. I can determine in advance if it sounds like me. I can determine by capacity if it sounds like me to go find some primes to talk to them about being their sub, or if it's sizable enough for me to go after the project as a prime myself. Folks, the next set of projects that will be rolling out under surtax, you're getting that information. You got it 2 days ago in the hot tip section. We told you from the city's perspective and the county, which projects my office has reviewed and which projects my office has established a goal. We also told you in that Wednesday newsletter which projects are out for bid. We also told you in a previous newsletter that can be followed up by the recent which cities were looking to go out for bid. This is information that you have access to prior to a bid ever hitting the street. And let's just say you're hearing this today for the first time. You can still take all the information and the past solicitations, and more importantly, the past reviews in my newsletter to get a better understanding of surtax. And at this stage, I think it's the 25 of my 31 cities who all have projects being recommended or approved. And you can start dotting your I and crossing your T. And when cities start putting these projects back out for bid in August, September, October, you're still ready. On our website for surtax specifically, you can even see for each city which bid portal they use. All don't use Periscope like us. Some have their own internal. Some are using Demand Star. But we have that list of the bid portals and the city contacts. I'm just saying, certified now what? If you're ready to do some additional work, and I could never promise you that you're gonna win a bid. Never will. I'm promising you that I'm providing you information, additional information, that if you can take the time, do the research, do the work, and connect some dots, we try to streamline this for you as much as possible. You can be competitive in the process. Next slide. Survey time. We need your feedback. Staff really like to know if the workshops like this one help, what other kind of workshops we're looking to do, good information, bad information. Folks, we're not so proud that at the end of the day, we think we do everything right. We don't, but we try to make sure that we get some customer satisfaction surveys in, and you will often get surveys from the certification staff as well about how we're doing or what we're doing. But most importantly for me, as I challenge my staff, this is about what other type of workshops and support can we bring to you? I know I need to do more with bonding. I know I need to do more with bidding, how to help you bid, how to walk you not only through the bid process, how to fill out these doggone forms. We know we need to do more in terms of estimating. So these are things we've heard from you that we're looking to do as we go into this upcoming fall and before we end this calendar year. But we're serious about our customer satisfaction survey. We don't want to waste no one's time, and we hope what we're doing is of value, but based on you filling these out, you begin to tell us and help us to hopefully create a better program that will advantage you. That's the key, to advantage you. So we give a few more seconds to hopefully let you fill out this customer satisfaction survey. Okay, and we'll move that right along. And folks, for this certified now what? That brings us to the Q&A. And I did it just about right, even though I had 2 technical difficulty glitches. Because I wanted to definitely give you at least 30 minutes. I need to make sure you understand that this could be a 2, 3, 4 hour session, but at the end of the day, information overload. This could be a 10 or 15-minute session, but there's going to be information that's just simply missed. So we understand it. No matter how long or how short we would have done this, there's always going to be additional questions. So even if we don't get to your question today, we're serious about the fact, email us so we can answer your question. Call us if you need that one-on-one consult. But right now, let's see if there's some questions out there that we can answer that would be of advantaging to you, the person asking it. And because you've asked it, we're sure that somebody else also needs that same answer. So staff, what do we have?
Hi, Sandy. It's Vanetta. I'm going to ask a couple of questions that we have here in the chat. Okay, first
In the
question
chat or
from
the Q&A? I thought we weren't doing chat today.
You are correct. I misspoke. It is Q&A. I'm so used to saying chat.
There we go.
Okay. First question here from Sherry Santana. Hello, do you get contracts related to seniors or social services?
Not as many, but we would want you to contact us directly because I don't want to get it twisted. 99% of everything that we do through the county's procurement program and process for this program is all for-profit activity. Some human service, social service stuff fall into this line, some, but most don't. But there's a robust human service and social service side of the county, and it primarily deals with nonprofits, and there's contracts and agreements that happen with them. But for us, there's not as much on the social service side. Did I lose you guys, or are you still there?
Still here.
Okay, there's not much on the social service side, but I want to answer this also a different way for everyone. Think of it this way. Whatever the county buys, if we procure it on the for-profit side, we're trying to do the small business certification program. Yes, the county may be procuring some social services, but most of that is on the human service side. So if you send me an email, I'll make sure we communicate and I'll lead you to the human service side. Or if I'm not being clear, you should call me and email me anyway. I'm going to give you a clear answer.
Wonderful. Thank you. Next question comes from David Aronson. How are we notified of pre-bid meetings?
So,
And there is a complimentary question that I'll tack on to this from Donna Grace. Please elaborate. How do we hear about upcoming bids?
bingo. So upcoming bids, pre-bid meetings. So let's be real about this. And in case you're not in Broward, or in case you move to another state, I want you to make sure you also understand government procurement. Government has a statute to do a notification. That's the solicitation. That's it. When government also decides, I'm speaking about Broward now, that, oh, this is so important, we want to do a pre-bid, it's through the same process that they announce it. Folks, that's all they're required to do. Big business, small business, medium size, that's all they're required to do. That's why my shop, with that Wednesday newsletter, I'm announcing if the county's doing pre-bids. That's why my shop, if I'm setting goals, I'm announcing as soon as I can that we're recommending goals. I'm announcing as soon as I can that that goal has been accepted. I'm announcing as soon as I can that that bid is on the street. Keep remembering what I said. The official notification is the bid portal, even for the pre-bids. Purchasing will make an announcement about a pre-bid meeting that follows the solicitation. Remember, if you're following a solicitation, everything about that solicitation happens on that bid portal. We just try to scream it louder using our newsletter. So you find out about pre-bid meetings, because if you're tapped into the solicitation portal, you will be notified. You get a reminder of that because I'm gonna put it in my newsletter. In terms of the pre-bid meetings themselves or the bids themselves, everything is in the portal. We just try to tell you as much as possible before you find out in the portal. So it's really by being connected with us. When you saw that slide about staying engaged, our newsletter is one way to do so. Hint, hint, being subscribed to that commission agenda lets you know when something's approved, which means traditionally within 3 to 5 weeks after the commission approved it, purchasing's ready to put it on the street. So that lets you know you ought to get ready to start looking. But yep, it will eventually come into the bid portal where you're already subscribed into Periscope. That's the official process. The unofficial, I'm trying to tell you as soon as I know that we're even thinking about doing it, they're going to consider doing it. They've approved to do it. They've just announced it. If you follow my emails, my newsletter, you'll see we give tips just in that fashion. When I first announce it, I can't give a date because I don't know the date and they don't know the date. But I want you to know somebody just sent me something. A project is X. It's for $5 million. I put a 40% goal. Here's the different scopes. Be on the lookout. That's what we do in advance. If the agency, once a solicitation is out, say that they're going to have a pre-bid meeting, yes, they post that on the Periscope, on the platform, but I'm going to announce the pre-bid in my newsletter. That's how you find out.
Okay, thanks a lot, Sandy. Let's see, the next question comes from Mildred Lowe. When was the last update of the directory? Are there any features that help users become aware of services and business in the directory they had not considered or had knowledge of?
Maybe nothing in the directory unless you're just going to stroll all the way through it to help you consider a business you may not have considered. But for the first part of your question, the most recent update to the directory was February, March 2021. Why can I say that with a smile? Because we put the directory online with the brand new application. So the directory is up to date. And if you went to our small business directory and you stuck in a business name, or if you know the NAICS code, or if you know the business name and you know that they're SBE or CBE, you can click and that information will come up with the company. If you just wanted generically all the information based on our different industries. You can put the industry in by NAICS code and you will see those individual businesses who are in our directory. So the directory is up to date as recent as February or March. And as an opportunity, and I want to say this carefully, if you look for something else that you might be interested in that the county procures, and I will have to get the update on this one, on my website, we do have Broward is buying. And that's a pamphlet of the type of things Broward buys. But if it's listed, that means I have like 2 or less and sometimes no businesses providing that service. To be clear, I got a pamphlet that says Broward is buying. And if the good material or service is listed in that pamphlet that says Broward is buying, that's because I got 2 or less and sometimes nobody in there. So can you imagine? I got something the county's buying and I have no one providing it. That means I certainly can't set a goal. I certainly can't reserve it. So that's a pamphlet, not for folks to say, hey, the county's buying this. Let me go start this business. Don't do that. That's at your own risk. Because we go to buy it 4 months from now and we don't buy it from you, you spend 2 years and you never get it purchased from you, then you mad you started a business. That list is really about exposing existing business owners to the things we buy. And if you happen to be doing that business, or your cousin is currently doing that business, or you have a friend who currently does that business, they need to know we buy that and we have 2 or less vendors and maybe none. So without doing anything new, they might want to consider getting certified. So it's really not about starting brand new unless that's a business risk and decision you want to make. But that's where you can find out information about things that we buy that we don't have enough vendors for.
Okay, thanks, Sandy. We have about 14 more questions, so we'll try to go through them a little bit quickly so we can get through the timing. Marcella Rogenberg asks, how can I find out if my type of business, which is construction safety product supplier, mainly for flooring and PPE, has a chance to be CBE reserved? And a couple of other people were interested in the answer to that question as well.
Okay, so here's the thing. CBE Reserve depends on the project that the county agency is looking to procure. And when we go into the directory, if I have enough businesses with that capacity. So we just got to take it as an example. You even said PPE. Okay, folks are still going to be buying PPE for a while. We had at least a dozen new folks added over the last year to the PPE list. So if you went to the directory and saw I got 17 folks who say they provide PPE, that means if an agency is looking to procure PPE, there's a good chance I could possibly reserve that because I certainly got enough folks doing it. That's the ideal of connecting the dot. There is no single list of things that's under consideration for CBE Reserve because we take the list based on the individual projects as county agencies are looking to buy. County agency sends a request through, we look at that request. And based on the scope and the requirements of that request, we start off by checking our same directory. And if we see, oh my goodness, put that survey out. How many responded? It was 17 in the directory, 12 responded back yes, and we went over the scope. We just simply make the recommendation, this is gonna be a reserve. So we do it per the project request coming from the actual user agency.
Great, thank you, Sandy. Next question comes from Lisette D. Sciascio. I could really use help with writing and submitting a P3 proposal to the city of Hollywood. Could having any of these certifications help me with my unsolicited P3 proposal?
So it may not help you with your unsolicited P3 proposal. One of the things that you would want to research, and you just said the buzzword Hollywood. So the city is Hollywood that you're interested with this P3 proposal. You'd want to check in Hollywood's economic development or community development website just to simply see if they honor our small business program. I say that because I got about 9 to 12 cities right now who says that they look to work with small businesses. And if you're certified with Broward County, that gives them extra brownie points, sometimes evaluation points. You're looking to do an unsolicited proposal. So at the end of the day, that has nothing to do with my program. But if that same city honors our program, then writing that as a part of your narrative for the proposal couldn't hurt. But there's nothing structured for your unsolicited proposal that I can say on the record advantages you by being certified.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you. Next question comes from Vicente Tanasi. Is SCORE Broward a recognized development center for Broward County?
SCORE is one of our partners. SBDC is one of our partners. Urban League is one of our partners. FAU is one of our partners. JM Family. SCORE is one that we recognize. SCORE is one that we have another group called ARROW, Alliance of Entrepreneurial Resource Organizations, who also participate with us. So SCORE is one of those who, at the end of the day, we've actually used them to host some of our workshops. Yes.
Okay, next question comes from Rashida Gordon. Thank you. This presentation was very informative. From what I gather, should I schedule a time to speak with your staff to identify what upcoming bids would be available to my agency? It seems most, if not all, bids are for construction. We provide professional services.
The answer is yes, because here's the thing. You also want to pay attention. And again, I don't know specifically which professional services, because you're right. Some professional services align with construction. Some professional services are completely outside of construction, but that's also one of the advantages of reading the newsletter. We describe when there's opportunities for professional services, but it's also an opportunity to understand when we do the contracting opportunities meeting in October, we have all the different agencies, even HR is there. We do professional consultants. We do contracting services opportunities. So again, anything the county procures, we're looking to set a goal and looking to reserve. So there are other opportunities, but if you send an email, we'll go back based on your specific professional services, and we'll tell you over the last 3 to 5 years, which agencies have procured your type of good, material, or service. That's one starting point we can do with you.
Gotcha. Thank you. Makiva Sullivan asks, can an out-of-state certified DBE, ACDBE firm also be certified as an SBE for Broward County?
Only if that out-of-state DBE or ACDBE follows all of our eligibility criteria, which means come and move a shop into Broward, meet the personal net worth eligibility requirements, meet the gross revenue receipts for that industry's requirements, and can demonstrate that they have at least a 1-year operating presence in Broward. They could certainly come to Broward and be a certified small business. Now, they can certainly participate day one where they are as a DBE, ACDBE, because it's a national program once they get acknowledged in this state. But for my local program, the eligibility criteria, which is another workshop, is really all about being in Broward at least 1 year, having at least one person operating an office that's in that discipline, not a secretary, a real person who's in that office operating at least a year and meeting the personal net worth criteria as well as the gross revenue receipts for the business.
Okay, wonderful. Next question is, do I need to join Periscope to bid on a project?
For Broward County, yes, because that's the only place we put our bids is Periscope. And remember, you get to join for free. Periscope is the national software. It used to be a part of BidSync, and they always trying to sell you something. Hey, do you want to know about bids in Texas or Mississippi? And they want to charge you money. If you want to know about bids in Broward County, if you want to receive bids in Broward County, you can register on Periscope for free.
Okay, next question comes from George Luis Roa. If I'm certified with the county, do I have to be certified or at least registered as a vendor with each city as well?
Yes. Here's the thing, especially at least registered so that you can receive the bid from the city. That's why we have the list of all the cities and all the portals. Some of the cities also use BidSync. So if you register with the county and you're on BidSync, you can probably get 2 for 1. But being a CBE, all the cities know in order to participate in surtax, the small business goal must be met by CBEs. So at the end of the day, registering with the city is a very good idea. But being a CBE, what you have to be is make sure you're on the bid portal for the city to receive the bids.
Great. Next comes from Makiva Sullivan. Once certified as DBE, is pre-qualification also required?
Once certified as a DBE, is pre-qualification required? No, some primes ask CBEs, DBEs across the board to do pre-qualifications. The county really doesn't. Some contracts, some bids may talk about pre-qualifications. From a certification perspective, no. So if you are DBE, you can participate in county procurement when we put bids out for DBEs. If a specific project is asking for pre-qualifications as a part of that process, they'll let that be known in advance, and so would we.
Okay, wonderful. The next question, I think one question will answer another one. One question is a company allowed to be SBE and a CBE? And the next person asking a question, I am certified as CBE and SBE. How do I know if I'm eligible to be certified as DBE and ACDBE? Not clear on what the last two relate to.
Gotcha. So the SBE and CBE, correct. Sometime a business is an SBE and a CBE. In our certification workshop, we explain SBE in terms of eligibility criteria. You can be on the commodity side at the same time providing a service. These goods and materials, you certify as an SBE, but for the service you're actually providing, you certify as a CBE. We tell all of our small businesses, don't worry about that. Send in your application. See, the application don't ask you to pick which one. When you put in all the data for the application, we then tell you based on the information you shared, if you are an SBE or CBE or both. We tell you that. For the other person, the SBE, CBE is my local. The DBE, ACDBE is the federal program, 49 CFR Code of Federal Regulations. Whenever we spend money that belongs to the Department of Transportation, then we have to use their program to use goals, which require us to use certified DBEs or ACDBE. DBE is disadvantaged business enterprise. These are minority or women-owned businesses that are socially and economically disadvantaged. We got all the details and the criteria and eligibilities on our website. ACDBE is airport concessions disadvantaged business enterprise. You're still a woman and or a minority that have 51% control or more, and you are socially and economically disadvantaged. There's ceiling in terms of the personal net worth as well as the gross receipts for both of those are also on our website. So that's just the federal program. When we do things with transit and transportation or aviation, we set DBE goals. All of those inner working stores and retails you see at my airport, that's ACDBE.
Great, thank you, Sandy. Next question comes from Edson. I still do not know if I am certified. How do I find out what I do have?
Send us an email, give us the name of the company. We'll tell you if you're certified or not. If you think you have submitted an application and you haven't heard back from our office, send that email. We'll tell you what the status of your application is. But there should not be any mystery about your certification. If you have completed an application, if it's been approved, you got a letter from me saying you've been certified, and at the bottom, it says SBE, CBE, or it says SBE and CBE, or it even tells you on the federal side. But no mystery, send an email, we'll tell you that within a day.
Okay, we have a few more questions left. One comes from Michael Vitale. I've been asked to put together a capability statement. Are there any templates I could use?
That's another workshop, but the answer is yes. So send us an email and we'll send you one of the templates from a workshop that we do about a capability statement. You will like the information that we have. Real easy.
Wonderful. Next question comes from Robert Crum. Do you have to have an active bank account?
So if you're in business, yes, you should have an active bank account. Is that a question I'm asking for my certification application? Nope. I want to know that you meet my criteria. Now you got to be meeting with Uncle Sam. That means you got to be doing your taxes, because at the end of the day, I'm also government. I want to know how you started your business. I want to know who your affiliates and your partners are. I want to know about you and your industry. I'm asking you things about the eligibility criteria. What's your personal net worth? What's your gross revenues or receipts for your business? See, all of those tell you that you need a banking account, but it's not a question I'm asking. If you can answer my questions and if you meet our criteria, we will certify you.
Okay, wonderful. Our last two questions are both about researching in Periscope. One asks, can you repeat how we look up previous bids? And the other asks about how to search sheltered market programs.
So, how to search sheltered market programs as well as research in Periscope. Here's the easiest way to research in Periscope if you're talking about past bids. Please understand, for all active bids, in case you didn't know, if you went to Broward County's website and you went to the purchasing website, there's a link to every single active bid. So even right now, before a contract ends, the information for that bid, who won that bid, when that bid started, when that bid ends, all of that's on the procurement website. So you got the information. But let's say the bid has ended and that contract is done and that's not on there, but you are told that, oh, wow, that contract that ended last June, though extended, is coming back out for bid again in October. And I want to get information. One, that information should still be on the website for purchasing, not BidSync, for purchasing. But two, you happen to be in the state of Florida. So remember this, public records request. Folks, you can always send a request for a past bid or past bid document, and we have to honor it. The county has to honor it. Again, there's information on the site that can be seen on the county's website through purchasing, but you can always do it through the public records request. Researching, I want to say this openly, past bids on Periscope. When Periscope used to be BidSync, when it first started, that information was there. You can navigate and you'll see all the past bids. Periscope, when they took over BidSync, or towards the end of BidSync, to be totally honest, they started changing it. They want to charge you extra for that. So it's going to be hard to get that information off of that system. But again, all of the Periscope bids originate from county procurement. So either through active bids that haven't expired yet, you can get the information on those bids from the procurement website, or if a bid isn't any longer available, you can ask, which the county has files and we're transparent, for that information through a public records request.
Okay, there's one question. It comes from Keith Douglas. Would there be a lot of calls or bids for photography in the bid program?
Not as much, unfortunately, because folks running around here using their own digital cameras and their cell phones and everything else. But I will say there has been bids over the years for photography, but I'm just using your sentence, not as much. I don't see single photography type bids come across. I see different bids for advertising, production, advertising, promoting, and marketing, and sometimes it's inclusive of photography, videography, and these days, even with the drones. But I have not seen a whole lot, hey, we're looking for a photographer to do this. A lot of those have not come across.
Okay, wonderful. I think that about wraps up the questions. We're good. Thank you, Sandy.
Thank you. So folks, we want to thank you for participating, and from 67 as the highest down to 54, most of you hung in here. Thank you. But look, certified now what is really about explaining there's some additional work. And again, I don't want to make like it's hard work, but it's real work. But if you're willing to do the work and connect the dots, if you're willing to take some of the assistance that we're offering, if you're willing to take some of the hot tips so that it makes it easier for you not only to navigate the process, but to see what's coming before it comes, to put yourself in a position, then that's what this is all about. Because again, you know better than I. This, I'm trying to explain the government's process. You know what it really takes to win a bid, to get invited to a bid, to engage someone on the private industry side. Mine is taking somebody to lunch or you're buying them their best scotch or being introduced by a cousin. That's the private industry side. The county is just the same without all the gifts. You have to know the procurement process. You have to know where you can get advanced information. You have to be able to connect the dots from what is told in this document to what was presented at a commission meeting, to a solicitation that went on the street, to understanding the bid has a small business goal and you're already certified. So it tells you, even going back to the beginning, who you need to be reaching out to. That's the type of information. Those are the type of nuggets we're trying to make available. So certified now what means take the action steps to stay engaged, target some opportunities, and let us help you walk them through. The next best opportunity, if you're interested in the continuation of the expansion of the convention center and the new hotel, we're going to do that on site, our first face-to-face kind of a meeting at the Terminal 4 at Port Everglades on Thursday, July 22nd at 5 p.m. You'll be able to meet the prime themselves. Mr. John Parker will be there on behalf of Balfour Beatty, and he'll have other of his sub-primes there who are going to be looking for small businesses that they need to work with, and he'll be telling you information. And this is of importance. Even if folks aren't certified, or like some of you, you just got certified, he's going to be telling you what you need to do over the next 8 to 9 months. So when he gets into spring of next year, and we start talking about the foundation for the hotel, you're in position. If you want to take that example I used at the beginning about surtax and connecting the dots, July 22nd for the convention center expansion and new hotel is your beginning to connecting the dots, especially for that hotel portion, which has not even started. Everything at the convention center now is about the expansion. The hotel piece, we're getting ready to start talking about. We're going to be in the position before this time next year to start working on. So everyone has a chance to find out who potentially are the partners or the people they need to be talking to. That's what's happening on the 22nd. Thanks again for joining us today. Thank you, staff, for taking us through this process. We wish you all well and have a good weekend.